Hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Untangle 101 webinar series. Today we'll be discussing and showcasing how Untangle's NG Firewall solution solves schools' network problems. My name is Shannon Miles. I'm part of the product marketing team here, and I'll be your host today. I also have with us our Director of Sales, Katie Bensten, who will be going through this presentation as well as demonstrating a lot of our applications. So just a few rules, housekeeping rules just before we get started. If you have any audio issues, please make sure you're using the correct audio preference. You can select on your right-hand side. If you do select to use a phone, you will need to dial in and use the access code provided. And as a reminder, this webinar is being recorded, so you will have the option to rewatch or revisit areas that you want to follow up on or share with your colleagues. And as always, we'll be answering questions throughout the presentation, so please submit any questions through the Q&A box, and we have a few members on hand that are there to help answer questions, and as well we have a Q&A section at the end that we'll try and get to. And if we don't get to your questions or you have a very specific question, you can always email us at sales@untangle.com or support@untangle.com. And with that, I'll pass it over to Katie.
Awesome. Thanks, Shannon. And thanks to everybody who took the time to join today. And if you're watching this on the recorded version, we love you as well. Thanks for taking the time to learn about our product and allow us to showcase kind of what we do best. So I know it's that time of year for everybody, and school buses are starting to show up on the streets again, and the hallways are starting to fill up with kids and students again. And it seems like our days are limited in terms of blinking your eye and the day is over. So my goal today is to kind of give you a product that will help you focus on your strategic initiatives for the rest of the year, rather than the password resets, and focus on what the important areas of your job will be in the coming weeks and months. My goal is also to allow you to leave here better informed about the Untangle product, what we can do for you. Allow you to understand how you can better manage your network from a variety of different areas, and really just show you the simplicity of our product and how we can help you. So we'll get into the demo a little bit later in the session, but I just kind of wanted to take a few minutes to go over some slides and some important areas of where Untangle has started and has grown over the years. So Untangle was founded in 2003. You say, wow, I've never heard of these people, or where did they come from? Where have they been hiding? You're probably right, and we're well aware of that market space. My guess is that most of you have probably heard of Untangle from your friends or your colleagues, maybe people who have used our product in the past, whether it be 5, 6+ years ago. Word of mouth is our strong source for us, and we take pride in knowing that all of our customers are our strongest advocates. Being able to stand by your product and know that it works well is a breath of fresh air in a market where technical fluff and foggy mirrors are really a way to sell business, and we don't do that here. The product really sells itself, and I'll be able to show you that very shortly. So let's dive right into where Untangle sits and how you get Untangle. Again, majority of you are IT administrators, or you're familiar with kind of network setups, and maybe you already have investments in other vendors or products that you want to continue to use. Untangle allows you to be flexible with what you've already invested in. So in terms of getting the Untangle setup in your network, you've got two options. On the left-hand side of your page or your screen there, you see it in a bridge mode, or as we call a bridge mode. It's behind your existing firewall router, and it's an inline, seamless, transparent filter that still passes traffic and allows you to manage the network from that aspect. You have a Cisco ASA, or you have another device that you want to continue to use as your router. Simply put Untangle behind it in a excuse me, I already mentioned the bridge mode, I apologize. Use the Untangle as your firewall router, and also use this as your filter. So on the right-hand side of your screen, you see us in a router firewall setup mode. This allows you to still leverage powerful network tools However, it's still in line and still it has to filter all of the traffic, and the traffic has to flow through it in order for us to work. So hopefully this makes a little bit of sense. Everybody's networks are different, however they do have similarities in terms of their setups, but Untangle can work well for you either way. So really, to kind of recap that, the number one step you want to do is decide on your platform. Then you want to choose apps, and we'll get into that a little bit later, and we'll kind of deep dive into what those apps could potentially offer you. So we all have a problem. That's unfortunate, right? Schools most likely use a legacy web filter that are ineffective and inflexible when it comes to allocating the network resources, users, apps, and the devices that have to access that network. A lot of times these are out-of-date systems. They only provide basic block allow abilities. The URL-based functionality is not within SIPA compliance, which is of great importance these days. And sometimes if you, not sometimes, majority of the time, if you are not SIPA compliant, the rate at which your E-rate funding is probably very limited. I don't know if the people on this call today or those watching have focused on E-rate funding, but we do qualify for the funding period this year. So what we want to do is make sure that you have a SIPA compliant product, you're able to be E-rate funded, and you're not putting yourself at risk for the demands of the 21st century. That really is readying your classrooms, educating your staff, and really making your jobs easier. So having the knowledge to solve the problem is really key here. And of course, Untangle can help you with that. Some evolving challenges. As I alluded to minutes ago, you're probably starting back to classes or you're about to rev up for this new school year, and you've got a long list of to-dos, longer than your school year. You say, how are you going to manage and how are you going to prioritize your tasks with what you currently have on your plate? You may have a product in place that works well, but maybe over the budget, and you've got constraints in that area. Or maybe the product they said it could do one thing and it doesn't. Or maybe you've outgrown your existing filter, firewall, router, whatever you have. The complexity of a network, the bandwidth that is used up with all of the new devices coming online. Kids middle schoolers have cell phones, iPads, tablets, Chromebooks. The majority of our society is really technical these days, and all of those problems show up on your networks whether you want them to or not. Untangle allows you the benefit of really narrowing down what can happen on your network so that your life is a little bit easier, as well as the connections or the threats. Let's talk about malware, spyware, adware. All of those things we're very familiar with in this industry, and regardless of whether you are protected or not, you're still at risk. Untangle can help you be better protected and support your network in a way that really narrows down or limits those threats. And really it comes down to having to evolve as IT administrators and evolve within our product and our mindset to be proactive versus reactive. And that's really where you're going to benefit from using our product, as well as kind of just moving into the new challenges of the school years. So what's Untangle going to do for you? Really, you're gaining visibility and control over your network. It's not about thinking certain things are happening on your network and setting up your policies based on that. It's really about seeing what's happening. With the rules that we have in place, you can really decide what's mission critical, recreational versus inappropriate based on a student code of conduct, employee handbooks. And I guess maybe I should backtrack a little bit. This webinar is focused on education, but Untangle really does fit in a majority of industries, whether it be banking, hospitality, just regular doctors, dental offices. You know you're a good product when you're not focused on one area, but you do well in all areas. And I think that's kind of where we shine. So I will focus mostly on the education aspect, as it is an education webinar. But if you do have colleagues or friends who are just having the same problems that you are within your school or library, then maybe you could pass along, hey, I found this great product, and here's what it could do for you. So back to the screen here, you set your rules, you get reports, you can set up alerts. The granularity within the reporting is huge, and I've had the benefit of being with Untangle for years now, and over the years we've grown by leaps and bounds in terms of the reporting capabilities. And we'll get into that again as we get the demo going, but really the visibility that you have and any alerts or policy violations that happen on your network, you really do have visibility to and can pull that data at any point. Also, again, I mentioned educating your teachers or your staff. That's number one, but putting the products in place that will help you educate them and not compromise your access or your system bandwidth or whatever the case is, while still allowing the teachers to educate their students the way that they want to, really is going to be key into your success this year. So on this screen you see the dashboard view. We'll get into that as I move into the demo, but Untangle is really security that fits you. The NG Firewall platform is designed to work simply like the App Store. Apps are plugins that add functionality to the NG Firewall platform, just like your apps on the smartphone. Though each of the apps have a different task, like blocking spam or preventing virus infections, all of those apps work synergistically and together to make it a flexible, integrated product. This also allows you to create granular policies, as I mentioned on the previous slide. It allows you to set up teacher versus student racks. Maybe you want to allow the computer lab that's testing full access to your bandwidth for the first hour of the day or for the last 3 hours of the day. Setting quotas and prioritizing your traffic based on the needs of the day really are key. So really, Untangle is security that fits you, and it allows you to do a lot of different things within your network. So the right network security solution is going to provide you all of these different key areas. So we've got protection, we've got filtration, performance is always key. That really is what keeps you up and running and keeps your mind in the right place. Connection, management, all of those key areas are really going to be of importance, and Untangle really does have the apps that filter into those, but it really allows you to specialize in certain areas, whether it be your bandwidth or maybe your web content filtering, blocking HTTPS traffic, and the like. So this kind of gives you an overview of the features that Untangle offers, and we'll get into that, and Shannon will kind of touch on the packages later on. Last here is another slide kind of giving you the benefits, and I don't want to take up too many more minutes on the slide side of things. Let's dive right into the demo. But really you're keeping your students and staff on track. That's really priority. Keeping them safe is actually your first, but keeping them productive and safe really is what a network filter or firewall router is going to do for you. So I'll skip over this slide. I think it's got some good information on it, and it might hit home for a lot of you on the call, but I think let's jump into the demo, and we'll circle back on some options later in the call. So what I wanted to do here is I'm actually going to use the online demo that we have. And to get to that, you can actually hit up the Untangle website, and you can do this after our call. So if you have a staff member who maybe wants to pick around and look around and see kind of what Untangle can do for them as well, even after you leave our call today, you can come to the Untangle website and get on the live demo server here. So you're going to go untangle.com, scroll over the NG Firewall tab at the top, and then you're going to click on Live Demo Server, and it'll just give you an automatic login. Awesome. So what you see here, if you've been familiar with Untangle in the past or within the last maybe 6 to 8, 9 months, you are going to see something very different than what you saw before. The dashboard is our newest key upgrade. And if you've never seen Untangle, then you're in for a surprise anyways. So this dashboard is a huge leap in our product offering and kind of what I like to sell as a key feature. It's a fully customizable dashboard. These are all widgets that we have by default implemented into the dashboard view, but you can take any of them out. You can drill down into these from here. And really the best part about it is the reports that you're going to want for your network. You can really customize reports and then use those customized reports and create widgets that are here on your dashboard view. So if you just take a second here to look, you've got some information on your appliance, your network, you've got resources, your memory, your disk space, any kind of network information that's needed, session views, scan sessions, bypass, the like. We also just launched in our latest version geolocation. So this map distribution really does show you kind of where threats are coming from, where implementations are happening, and this is just kind of like an overview, but you can drill down into certain areas and really see what's actually happening throughout the world. That's a cool feature. This is fully dynamic too, so it's real time. This data is based on your network. Again, this is the demo box, but this will all be customized to your specific network and your needs. So if you look down here, again, by default, we've got some cool reports here. If you wanted to specify, you know, a certain area, you can drill down into these and kind of sparse out of the importance of the information that you're gathering here. And those, in order to manage your widgets, you just click here, click Add. If you had a customized report, your customized report would reflect here, and then you would add it into your dashboard, and that's where all of that would happen. So it might be a little bit different than what you saw before. This is the first page that you're going to see when you log into your Untangle interface. We have moved the tabs from the left-hand column up to the top. And what this allows us to do is become fully responsive. So if you are trying to check your network on an iPad off-site, or if you are trying to you know, check it on your iPhone or an Android phone, whatever the case is, as you move across and down, the site becomes fully responsive, and these all collapse as you need. In fear of closing out the session, I'm not going to show you that here, but know that the site is fully responsive and the product is built in to kind of exemplify that. So this might be what you're familiar with in the past. The rack view is actually still here for you. Not a lot has changed in this, but the functionality still exists. So I think it's important to kind of go through some key features of where Untangle shines. I would be remiss if I did not go over the web filter. That really is the heart and soul of our product and what we shine at. And it's probably the most important part of why you're here with us today. You have possibly a firewall in place, and you have an okay filter, but it's missing some key functions. Our web filter is our MVP. So let's dive right in there and figure out what we can do for you. Within the interface here, Untangle leverages a third-party technology vendor called Civello. You're welcome to visit their site. What they do for us is manage the database. They dynamically update URLs that come on the fly, and they really do provide a top-of-the-line service. And that's built into the key functions that Untangle offers you as well. So if you have a URL that comes online, you're not waiting for Untangle to update upon your upgrade or anything like that. These sites are phoning home to the cloud. They have you know, employees that update constantly, bringing new sites online so that you are protected from any threats that happen. So know that that database is ever growing. It's about 450. It's probably more than that now. 450 million. Let me clarify. Sorry. And we've got 143 categories that you can choose from. So let's look at those categories here. By default, we do have a set of rules that are set up for you with your implementation, but it's very easy to click and uncheck whatever really you need and to customize your network. I do want to kind of go over some key areas here within this block categories page. You can scroll down here and see all of the categories based on the needs as you move through, and you can edit the descriptions here to kind of match your student code of conduct or whatever the case is. These descriptions that you show here will actually reflect on the block pages, so you can really depict what you want to say so that it's very clear why somebody is being blocked from this page or this category or whatever based on your needs. If you see the block versus the flag, I always like to say if you're new to Untangle and you haven't used a thorough web filter before, you might think certain things are happening on your network, but you really don't know. And with Untangle, we allow you to block as well as flag. So flagging really allows you to see what's happening on your network where the traffic is still being passed. So a key situation for this would be the first 2 weeks of school. Kids are bringing on their cell phones, they're bringing in their iPads, they're bringing in their Chromebooks or tablets, and with caution, of course, maybe not showing, by default you've got any type of child pornography or inappropriate activity. Of course, you've got those blocked just to be safe. But maybe there are streaming videos or BitTorrents or getting on Facebook more than you think is actually happening, or using applications within those URLs to compromise your network. You really don't want to block those things up front. You really want to flag them so that you can be effective and efficient in terms of your network functionality and configurations. Flagging allows you to do that. The traffic will still be passed, but it will show up on a report, a flag report. So then you can really drill down and say, while I want to have access to Facebook because there are some educational functions there, I don't want my kids being able to message or stream games or stream videos and those sorts of things. So the flagging functionality within their web filters is actually a huge benefit. So keep that in mind if you are going to trial, if you're going to put us in a bridge and run us transparently, just to kind of check us out. I would recommend instead of blocking, I would flag so that you have visibility to what's actually happening on your network. Again, if you have specific sites that you need to block, feel free to add those here. You can select the sites, add your description. Again, this description is what's reflected on your block pages to your teachers and students. Or if you want to have some instructions on emailing, info at XYZ, then you can do that so that you get an alert when those block pages are met or requests happen. It's very simple to add those in. We also block file types and Mime types. This can be huge with upgrades. So let's say Apple rolls out a new iTunes upgrade or something like that, and you've got iPads. You want to make sure that your kids you don't want to make sure that your entire network is not bogged down with an Apple update. You can block certain file types and Mime types as well. And then sometimes there are use cases where you've got past sites that need to be visited through your teachers. Sometimes YouTube videos are used for educational seminars or sessions. Sometimes those sites need to be passed. YouTube might have been a bad example for that, but you get the idea. Past sites you can add just like you can block sites. And as well, if you have clients that need to be bypassed, whether it be your principal, your APs, your counselors, your responsible staff, you can pass clients here by setting them to bypass certain filtration within the Untangle. And we'll kind of go into policy management as well, which is very similar to being able to pass clients. You can really specify what you want to allow in your network. Lastly, I'll go into the advanced settings here. You can see there are a lot of restrictions here, as well as blocking HTTP, process HTTPS traffic, enforce safe search. That's huge for schools. Google Safe Search, images, whatever the like. You can have all that functionality here within the web filter. And lastly, we talked about reports at the beginning of the webinar, but let me show you here. We have, in the last 2 or 3 revisions of the product or upgrades, we've put reports within the features themselves, and we kind of moved some reporting around a little bit, so it's a little bit more user-friendly. It's easier to see. So within each of the functions or the modules, you'll see a reports tab that you can click on, and it's specific to that feature. So if I wanted to see the web usage for anything that was blocked, I would simply click on this link over here on the left, and then it would pre-populate based on the traffic of my network. And in essence of time, sometimes these take a little bit longer depending on the type of traffic or the amount of traffic that's flowing. So some of these reports don't pop up immediately. Know that they do take a little bit of time sometimes depending on the traffic. So here you'll have your data based on 1 day ago, and if you wanted to simply take the last weeks of data, let's do the last 14 or 7 days, excuse me. So if I wanted to do the 9th through today, then you would click done. You would get a specific time frame of your reports. And this is real time, so you have the ability to see what's happening on your network. So let's move on. I think that's the web filter, virus blocker, spam blocker, web cache. Those are all great functions. I think the key features we want to focus on today would be web filter, bandwidth control, SSL Inspector, and then application control. Those are really going to be the areas that you want to focus on as an IT administrator in a school. So what I'm going to do is touch on the bandwidth control next. Bandwidth control allows you to set quotas or prioritize your traffic based on the needs of your network. You can set rules. It's very easy. You can set penalty box, prioritize DNS traffic, SSH traffic. Depends on the needs of your network. Everybody has different. But let's say you have a seminar, or you've got your superintendent coming in town, and he's going to be on site for 4-hour period during your day. You want to make sure that he has full access to whatever he needs, and maybe you want to set his IP address or his policy to either bypassed because you don't want to filter him, or you want to set him to 30% of your bandwidth. You want to make sure that he's prioritized in terms of the traffic that he's allowed to reach. So those are some areas within bandwidth control. Again, if you want to add specific rules, you would simply do that. Click on your protocol here, and then it's user-friendly based on what you need to do. Click and drop. So again, the reports are within each of the functions or the features. So within the bandwidth control, you also have this top host name, client usage. For an example, in your situation in a school, you have a student who's causing issues on your network, or always, is always kind of coming across your screen as a problem child. You can set up a custom report for Timmy, put it on your dashboard, and anytime Timmy visits Facebook or uses streaming videos or whatever the case and spikes your bandwidth, you're really going to have instant visibility to Timmy causing issues on your network, and then you can filter based on those specific reports or the information you get from that. So there's bandwidth control. Again, trialing it and learning how the functions work are really going to be key, but I just wanted to kind of give you an overview of what these modules will do for you. In conjunction with web filter, our SSL Inspector really is a key player. If you're not blocking SSL traffic, you're really not filtering anything. Web filter and SSL work hand in hand, and this allows you to block HTTPS traffic. So let's say if you're not familiar with that, then you have Facebook blocked with your web filter. It reroutes to https.facebook.com. Your student's getting around your filter. That's huge. That's basically you're spending money to do something and it's not doing it for you, because your kids can proxy around it. They can get around your filter. What's the point? So SSL Inspector is certificate based. It does take a little bit of work to get it set up, but once it's set up, you will see a huge benefit of having it installed. If you have some questions, our Director of QA, John Coffin, does some great tech talks. His sessions are highly technical, and he kind of deep dives into the products themselves. I highly recommend visiting that, and Shannon will show you kind of where to get that information after. but I do highly recommend visiting those Tech Talk sessions. John did a great one on SSL Inspector a few weeks ago, and we've got all of our other features listed as well. So configuring it, setting up rules, and again, the reports functionality is built into that module itself. So moving on, application control is another key feature I think would be important to share. As I mentioned before, you've got some use cases for Facebook, or you've got some use cases for your Gmail accounts, or whatever the case. But you don't want certain areas of Facebook visited, whether it be streaming videos, messaging, downloading games, playing games, whatever the case. Application control really allows you to drill down into what you want visibility to, or access to, excuse me. So you've got the entire list of applications here. It goes on and on and on. And you really can block, tar pit, or flag each of these. Depends on kind of what your use case is and where you need the capability. I think Facebook's a good example of that. Ultrasurf, BitTorrent, Dropbox, Gmail for Google, all of those are key functions within application control that allow you to kind of customize what you need. Shannon, do we have a question here?
Yeah, there's questions that just popped up about tar pitting, if you want to describe that a little further.
Okay. Tar pitting is really just focusing on, you can block it so that the access is blocked fully. Tar pitting really is just kind of putting them into a penalty box. And flagging is what I mentioned before. Flagging is just kind of getting notification that certain areas of the network are being compromised, so that you can focus on where those need to be. So tar pitting really is just kind of focusing in on penalizing those who are misusing the network.
And that may not be clear since we're not going to deep dive into this, but we have a tech talk on application control where John actually deep dives into the tar pitting and block and flag option. So if you want to get more information on that and how to set it up, and if it's useful to you, you can visit that, and I'll go over where all those webinars are later.
Great. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so as you see, the list here goes on and on and on, and you've got a lot of great areas to look into in terms of the application. So this really is blocking at the URL level versus the application. So let's see, a couple other areas I wanted to focus on because it might benefit you. Let's look at Policy Manager. As an IT administrator, you've got hundreds to thousands of students, possibly staff members, janitorial staff. You've got Wi-Fi guests who are coming on because you've got an event. Maybe you've got a school play or drama event, or maybe a sporting event, and you open up Wi-Fi access to those. Policy Manager allows you to set channels within Untangle, and by channels I mean sets of rules or sets of policies per group or per user. In Timmy's case, if Timmy's a problem child and you have to constantly manage his access, Timmy can have his own rack and his own set of rules. Again, that's a use case for a very small school, but the idea is the same. So setting up policies is very simple. You would simply add a rack here, whether it be teachers versus students, and then you set up the, if I can spell correctly, sorry. Teacher versus student, you would add your description here based on their limits or their access. And then what we allow you to do is really, to save time, you can set up a default rack and really copy or mirror the settings from the default rack into your new racks. So let's say you had you wanted to take some time to set up the default rack to meet the needs of your student codes of conduct. And then you wanted to drill down into creating a rack for each grade level, 1st through 5th, or 9th through 12th, or whatever the case is. You really can take that default set of rules and then start to customize based on their curriculum. You can customize based on the student themselves or the needs of the staff member, whether it be they visit YouTube often to kind of teach their lessons. By setting up different channels within Untangle, you really can have separate policies for groups within your network. And that's going to save you time, that's going to save you effort, and really just having that functionality is key, because not every member of your staff or member of your school is going to have the same access. So hopefully that helps to explain what policy management will do. Setting it up is very simple. I can't really save functions here or racks here within this, but you get the idea of a teacher versus student rack and kind of the access between the two. So let's get back to the main rack here. Policy Manager, again, is a key feature. Untangle does integrate with Active Directory. So we have a directory connector function built in. So what this allows you to do is look at your reports and see names or student staff members versus IP addresses. This really does allow you to look better as an IT administrator when you pull a report and you say, this teacher is causing issues on the network, or they are beyond their scope of access, and here's why. Everything seems to be a liability these days, so having the ability to pull a report based on Sally down the hall is really key to your principal making the appropriate decisions based on any types of counseling or anything like that. Having directory connector, again, we integrate with Active Directory and Radius, and then you can integrate into your reports. And again, the reports are built in here. Shannon, how are we doing on time, and how are we doing on questions? Or feel free to ask your questions in the question box there. We have some great staff members answering those questions as they come through.
Yeah, we're doing good on time.
Okay, great.
So I don't know if you want to show any other applications or.
Yeah, so let's talk about two more features within the Untangle platform. Some of you might have multiple ISPs that filter the traffic through your networks. Untangle has built-in load balancing and failover. So if you have the need for balancing traffic across multiple ISPs, some of your locations are far out, or they are, the location is remote in terms of getting access to internet. So sometimes you have to have multiple ISPs supporting your load or your network. If that is the case, you can use WAN Balancer to balance the multiple ISPs across your traffic. If you want to do 50-50, you can do that. If you want to do your phone system on 30% of your network and the rest of your network traffic be on 70% of the second ISP, you can do that. Having the traffic allocation ability between multiple ISPs is great for those remote sites. And even if you're central in the city or something like that and you don't really have bandwidth issues or connection issues, still having the ability to balance traffic is great. So that's built in, as well as the failover. If one ISP does go down, the second ISP will kick in, and that's based on just basically the setup rules that you have. If A happens, then B kicks in. So let's see. The last thing I will touch on is the captive portal. I think that's great. All of these functions here that you see are included in our complete package. That is a full functioning product with all of our features. So it includes your web filter, it includes your bandwidth control, your web cache. And Shannon will touch on the packages in just a few minutes, but know that this rack view does include all of our functions. I did want to touch on Captive Portal because I think that's a key feature if you have Wi-Fi networks, if you have BYOD implemented into your school, or you've got sporting events that are coming up and you want to have open access to your Wi-Fi for teachers or excuse me, your parents or staff members that come to those events. The Captive Portal allows you to set up a custom page that authenticates the IP or the device, and Untangle is able to see it at that point. What that does is it captures the IP address or the MAC address and then basically filters on that. So if they're coming in through your Wi-Fi network, then you can set up, using Policy Manager, as we mentioned before, you can set up specific rules for your Wi-Fi guests or your Wi-Fi devices. Maybe they only have access to the school website or the academic calendar, or they have access to the sporting event calendar, or whatever you want to do specific to your needs. Captive Portal allows you to set that up. They authenticate that there is an acceptable use policy in place, and they check that box to agree to the terms and conditions, and then you allow them access to your network. That's not only protecting you as the IT administrator as well as the school, but it's also protecting a student or a child who might have access to their mom or dad's cell phone and maybe that parent is watching the other child play football or something like that. You're setting yourself up for success versus having to be reactive to an issue that happens at an event. Captive Portal allows you to do that. And you can set up custom pages so it looks like your school. You can add images, you can add descriptions, however you want to do it. And if you wanted to customize, there are a lot of different ways that you can manage that. I do want to do one last thing before I pass it back over to Shannon, and we'll hit back up on the slide deck. But within each of the functions, we have a huge community base. If you weren't aware, we are an open source based product. So we have thousands and thousands of community members who live on the forums, and they really do help everybody out with learning how to use the product. Or if you have a question, I'm sure somebody had the same question before, and that question has been answered. So if you click on this help button within, oh, hold on one second, I got to get out of this page. If you click on help within any of the features, it's going to bring you to our online wiki. So this is, if you clicked on web filter, so to speak, this is the wiki, the updated wiki forum or wiki page that has all of your questions and answers. And you can really click on anything here, and it'll give you the FAQs within each of the functions or features. So keep that in mind as you're trialing the product, or if you're interested in learning more and you are maybe working off hours and you just want to see if somebody else had the same issue, or you wanted a quick fix, or you wanted to educate yourself a little bit more on a certain area of the product. Our wiki features are going to be key in this time. So feel free to check those out as well. And then I think with that, let's move back over to the slide deck. And let's go to, let's see, get back up. Oh, I wanted to go back. I forgot to talk about the appliances. As I mentioned before, you can implement Untangle in a bridge or the router firewall mode, but how do you get Untangle? It's a software download, and what are you going to run it on? We built our business as a software download that you can repurpose hardware, whether it be an existing piece of hardware that you have, if you want to source your own hardware, and we found that to be great. We also found that schools require guaranteed hardware to work, warranted hardware to work, and they needed to have a backup plan. So that really took us back to the drawing board, and we focused our efforts on being able to provide valuable hardware, reliable hardware to our customers. And this really becomes a plug-and-play method for you as the IT administrator. So here on the screen, you see all of our options in terms of the hardware. We start as low as a U25, which is about 25 devices supporting a network, up to an M3000, which is 3,500 to 4,000 devices. That's kind of the scope of our range, of our abilities to service. While you can have more devices on a network or less devices on a network, it really is going to come down to the type of traffic that you're filtering and what your plans are in terms of the filtering device itself. So we can find all this information on our website, but I did want to give you just a key, just a couple of seconds to take a look and know that we do offer hardware. The software would be downloaded once you purchase, and we can go from there in terms of helping you configure. So what we will do here is I will pass it back over to Shannon to talk about some great case studies that we've had in the past. She'll go over the packages and really give you some extra information based on what your needs are.
All right, thanks, Katie. Thanks for that great demo. As always, please continue asking questions on our Q&A box. So just wanted to showcase some of the case studies that we've done. We post all of our case studies on our website, so these are just excerpts from them. We have plenty of schools, whether it be private or public, whatnot. So all of them with varying different issues that they were having on their campuses, and just showcasing how they work. So you can find them here. Untangle.com under resources case studies. So if you want to go in and just read a little bit more about how each of them help, Untangle helped them, that's great. As Katie mentioned, we do have all of our webinars posted. So this is our webinars page. As you can see, these are all the ones coming up. However, if you want to see past ones, we have this handy little button at the bottom, YouTube button, that goes to our YouTube channel. And here you can see, whoops, sorry, that was automatic. Here's the playlist, and we have our Tech Talk series. So as Katie was mentioning, all of our Tech Talks are the highly technical ones, including this 101 is also will be posted on the website or on the YouTube channel afterwards. So we've pretty much gone through every product that we have, every application that we have with the Tech Talk. So John goes through them in very, very detailed format, going to all the different configuration options that you have. Now if we jump back, Katie was mentioning that we have some special pricing. If you go to software packages, as you can see here, we have public sector complete and nonprofit complete. So just depending on what kind of institution you are, whether you be a state and local government or public school or library, public sector complete is for you. Nonprofit is for nonprofit institutions, NGOs, private schools, religious organizations. It is the exact same package as the complete package. It is just offered at a lower price for you. So that's how we kind of help with the strict budgets that schools have. I believe that was all that we needed to mention. If we go back to the deck, we went over Q&A. So, so I believe, let's see if there's any questions that we got.
Sure. I think the staff members are answering those as they come in. Hopefully we're getting to your question. There are a lot of people on this call with very specific questions, and we'll try to get to those. If we don't get to those, feel free to email sales@untangle.com. Either myself or one of my team members will be happy to help you. If you're interested in getting a demo set up, maybe you've got some staff members that want to see the product, or you want to showcase what you saw today, and you want to be specific to your network. Email sales@untangle.com so that we can get a demo set up with you and work with you going forward. Again, I know that you're coming back to school. Your time is very valuable. I hope you saw some benefit in the product today. You learned something that you didn't know coming into the webinar, and that you leave better prepared to present an option to your administrators or your staff members there at your school. Lastly, I will touch on contacting us at sales@untangle.com. Feel free to install a trial. We offer a free 14-day trial. Play before you pay is kind of what I say. Feel free to give it a shot. If you have any technical questions during that trial, we are happy to help you. We can help you from a technical side. We can help you from a sales side. However, whatever you need, we're here to help you. So check out these demo sites. The demo site that I used today from the website. Check out the online documentation via the wiki or the forums. Post questions. Shannon touched on the webinars. Feel free to register for anything coming up or view anything from the past. And as you can see here, John will be taking care of the captive portal BYOD on September 16th, and as well as the geolocation, which is one of our newest releases in 12.1. So we hope you're excited to check us out. If you haven't seen us in a while and you see something that you like now, feel free to install that trial and give it a play. So I think that's all I have for today. I will let you guys go and enjoy the rest of your day and week, and I hope to hear from you soon. If there's anything Untangle can do to support you, we are happy to do it. So thanks again for joining us today, and you guys have a great day.
Great. Thanks, Katie. Thanks, everyone.